Cricket, a sport that takes Australia by storm over the summer season, so much so that summer is now dubbed the summer of cricket. Cricket is a sport that captures the heart and minds of countless Australians, a sport where passion and skill is everything, and no one in my personal opinion displayed this more than Brett Lee. A childhood hero of mine, Brett Lee reignited the passion for fast bowling throughout Australia through his magnificent displays of genuine fast bowling, granting him to become one of the greatest fast bowlers of all time. Brett Lee's biography, titled My Life, written by him and James Knight, and published in 2011, gives an incredibly rich, detailed account of his life before, during, and after his retirement from the sport of cricket. I've chosen to analyse Brett Lee's cricketing career, in particular analysing his development throughout the sport and how certain sport delivery systems enabled him to maximise his incredible potential in becoming one of the greats. Analysing Brett Lee's career will also provide great insight into how sport delivery systems have changed throughout Australian cricket since his retirement. However, to understand how Brett Lee made it from playing cricket in his backyard to become one of the most famous bowlers of all time, it is first important to examine and understand how important sport delivery systems are within sport and their development. They are designed to enable sporting organisations to identify potential talent at a young age through talent identification programs. They also have systems in place such as coaching clinics, which are designed to increase participation levels throughout the sport. Furthermore, sport delivery systems also provide athletes that show high levels of potential and talent, whether young or old, with development programs and clear pathways that develop them further until they reach the elite level. These systems are important within Australian sport, as without them, the quality of sport in Australia would decline and the development of elite athletes would diminish rapidly. As an athlete, it is important to understand how these systems develop players into elite athletes, as it will allow them to give them direction and structure when pursuing the elite level. As mentioned previously, Brett Lee is one of the greatest Australian cricketers, and to see how he got there, we must first go back to the beginning. Brett Lee idolised his older brother Shane, and it was to no surprise that Brett started playing cricket because he wanted to be like his older brother. After playing county cricket for a year, Brett joined up with the Oak Flat Rats under-10s, who played in a league competition. League competitions allowed for Brett to develop his skills and gain confidence in his bowling against people his own age before moving higher up the age groups. Brett's first encounter of representative cricket would come 2 years later when he was selected to play for the New South Wales PWSA team. This competition was played as a round robin, where teams were rotated around so they could each play each other once, as depicted in this diagram. This competition gave Brett a sense of the skill level needed that he needed to obtain, and with hard work and dedication, along with impressive performances throughout the grades, and particularly in first grade cricket, Brett would find himself...
Alex Stewart then added a bit of his own advice.
First real representative cricket, Brett played a double elimination competition, which was semi-final to Queensland. A double elimination competition differs from a regular elimination tournament, as it allows for teams who lose their first game to come back and win the championship. This is done by teams having to lose 2 games instead of 1 before getting eliminated. This type of tournament was significantly beneficial for Brett Lee, as it allowed him to develop his skills against numerous and different types of teams. It was here that he would learn the importance of setting different plans for different teams, different batsmen, different bowlers. Overall, develop him as a player. Brett progressed in ability and skill, and it was a short time after he was called up to play for the New South Wales State Shield team that competed in the Sheffield Shield competition, playing both 4-day and 50-over games. After impressing selectors with good performances, he was then selected for the under-19 Australian side. Both these formats presented league competitions, which allowed Brett to learn the skills of playing against quality opponents constantly. This league-structured competition was Brett's first real experience of professional cricket, and it gave him the hunger to strive for more. After continuously performing throughout several seasons with New South Wales, Brett was eventually called upon to play for Australia, ending his journey of becoming an elite athlete. It was here where he would play in the most prestigious competition that cricket has to offer, the Ashes series, a series of games between Australia and England, and who won the most games out of 5 would win. He also played in 2 World Cups, perhaps the most prestigious competition, where teams play in a group competition before moving on to a single elimination tournament. Anyone can look at Brett Lee's career and say, wow, how good is he? but Brett was not able to achieve this level of cricket on his own. He had the help and support of sport delivery systems and pathway systems set in place by Cricket Australia, and it was through these talent identification and development programs that Brett was able to achieve what he did. Back when Brett Lee was emergent as an elite athlete, Cricket Australia did not have the talent identification and development programs as they do today. Today's cricket world sees a greater number of cricketing academies and competitions such as T20 and the KFC Big Bash, which henceforth allows for more talent identification and development of elite athletes. Whilst Brett Lee did not have these modern delivery systems, he was able to develop through those found in his day. The earliest sport delivery system that Brett Lee experienced was when he was selected to attend a coaching clinic for young pacemen in Sydney, organised by New South Wales Cricket. It was here where he would come under the scrutiny of another great fast bowler, Dennis Lillee. This particular development program was significantly beneficial for Brett, as it was here that his problematic mixed bowling action was addressed by Lillee. In Year 12, Brett went to the Commonwealth Bank Cricket Academy coached by Rod Marsh, Ian Chappell and once again Dennis Lillee, all former Australian great cricketers. The academy was another sport delivery system and pathway system that Cricket Australia had in place. The responsibilities of such an academy was not only to develop the skills and attributes of the cricketer, but also to introduce new and unfamiliar skills as well. For instance, if a fast bowler like Brett Lee attended the academy, he would not only learn how to develop his bowling skills, but also his batting, fielding, mental and media skills as well. In Brett's case, this is what happened. Thus, it developed him into a greater player. Although Brett Lee managed to be selected for some of the development programs and sport delivery systems set in place by Cricket Australia, the fact is that he was one of the lucky ones. Many aspiring cricketers did not get the same chance to show their talent and skills to governing bodies, as the quantity of such systems and programs were far below the amount that Australian cricket has in place today. Emerging talent now have the chance of developing into elite athletes through the countless sport delivery systems that are in place. These include, for instance, the KFC Big Bash, which is used as a means of finding young cricketing talent, and the far more numerous development programs and cricketing academies set up around the country. The author of this particular biography, based upon what was written, Knight does have some sound knowledge of what the delivery systems at the time were. He does, however, only touch upon these systems at a superficial level, and does not discuss how these systems developed his skills and overall developed Brett as a player. Rather, he chooses to focus on what happened during Brett's time at these particular programs. For instance, he discusses Brett's nightlife and his music career, rather than discussing the techniques and the ways the coaches implemented coaching strategies in order to develop players to the highest extent. In conclusion, Brett Lee's career is that of a legend. He has significant knowledge of Cricket Australia's sport and delivery systems at that specific time. He made all the correct choices in regards to participating in these development programs, which allowed him to further develop at an exponential rate compared to those around him. Furthermore, Brett acknowledges how these sport delivery and development systems allowed him to overcome his problematic bowling action, which caused many back and leg injuries down the way. If not for these programs, Brett would never have been able to develop and refine his action to the extent that was required to become an elite Australian athlete. Furthermore, by analysing the sport delivery systems in Brett's career, we can observe and identify how much they themselves have developed and grown. It is evident that Cricket Australia now implement many more sport delivery and development systems than they did when Brett was emerging as an athlete. We now see many more talent identification competitions and programs such as the KFC Big Bash, as mentioned previously, along with many more academies and development programs for athletes outside major cities as well. Whilst Lee and I don't go into specific detail about these sport delivery systems, the evidence suggests that Brett used all that was available to him to develop and grow as a player of the sport.